On the 13th of November 1806 at 5 o'clock in the evening, a young girl was leaving this close to go and get some water from the well. But she noticed something was blocking the path. Lying on the ground there appeared to be a bundle of rags. As she made to step over it, she realised with horror that it was in fact the body of a man with a knife sticking out of his chest. This is the story of brutal, unsolved murder and possible haunting in Tweeddale Court in Edinburgh. Hello Ghost Hunters, Tommy Terror here from the Edinburgh Ghost Bus Tour with some dark history. So this is Tweeddale Court, just off the Royal Mile in Edinburgh's Old Town. Very atmospheric place with a lot of interesting history. Let me show you around. So this wall here is part of the original city defensive walls from medieval times. It was built by James II in the 1450s. It's the King's Wall and it's still here today. This little structure here is a sedan chair house, storage place. So in old Edinburgh, the closes were so narrow, you couldn't get a horse and carriage up and down. And the streets were notoriously filthy. If you were rich, you could hire a sedan chair and two men to carry you around Edinburgh, a primitive taxi service. This is where the chairs were stored, and it's one of the smallest listed buildings in Edinburgh. If we go down here, we can see a very interesting lamp post. This is one of the original gas lamps in Scotland, and it's still here today. And this house here is Tweeddale House. Now this was built in 1576 by the Earl of Lothian for his daughter, and it later became the townhouse of the Marquis of Tweeddale. Later on it fell into disrepair and it was bought by the British Linen Company. And that's where our murder comes into it. Now the victim in this case was a man called William Begbie, and he was a porter for the British Linen Company, and on this particular day he had to bring a package containing £4,392 from Leith to be deposited here at the branch headquarters, but he never made it to the front door. As soon as he set foot into this close, he was set upon, stabbed through the heart and robbed. It's one of the earliest bank-related murders in British history, and it remains unsolved. Despite a lengthy police investigation, a reward of £500, they never caught the killer. Now there were sightings of Begbie that afternoon being followed by a mysterious man of stout appearance. The same man was later seen leaving the close after the murder by some children on the street. So who was he? Well, whoever he was certainly well prepared. The murder weapon was a common bread knife, purchased that day for the purpose and carefully sharpened into a double-bladed point, which was thrust into Begbie's heart. The killer had even wrapped the handle of the knife in a wad of tissue paper to stop the blood splashing back on his clothes. As for the money, well, about a year later, £3,000 of it was found stuffed into the wall of a house in the new town, all very mysterious. And this case fascinated Edinburgh. Walter Scott wrote about it, Robert Louis Stevenson wrote about it. It was never solved. However, several years later, suspicion fell on a known criminal by the name of James McCool, also known as James Moffat. Now, he came under suspicion because he lived in New Street, just round the corner at the time of the killing. He also fitted the description of the mysterious man of stout appearance, but he died in prison at Calton Jail, awaiting execution for armed robbery. So he couldn't be questioned any further. Perhaps he was the killer in this case. As for the ghost though, there has been talk of Begbie's ghost haunting this close. The Scottish Council on Archives published a document in 2011 which mentioned the possibility of the ghost haunting this close. There's been paranormal investigators here with EMF equipment who claim to have made contact with the spirit. If you look around online, you'll find various reports of vague poltergeist activity here, but it's certainly not one of Edinburgh's famous haunted hotspots. It's hard to deny though that if you stand here on a chilly November evening in the place where William Begbie was murdered, it's hard not to feel a chill going up and down your spine. If you ever pass by Tweeddale Court, spare a thought for the man who came in here one day and never ever left. This is Tommy Terror. Thank you for watching.